After Ricky's surprising subversion of werewolf tradition, Abraham has begun to consider him a silent threat. By right, his marriage should not be acknowledged, but what if it produces a son? As alpha of the Kaufman pack, Abraham feels challenged by the sudden turn of events. He and Morgan should be working on an heir before anyone else has a chance to secure their bloodline. The pack has never had cause to question his leadership, but Abraham knows that might change if an alternate choice arises. He cannot risk losing what little is left of his homeland and its rich history by letting the werewolves stray. Meanwhile, Rosalie has begun to feel ill. She suspects she is with child, but her body has given her no confirmation. Unlike Morgan, Rosalie is more at ease with her situation. A little girl would be just as welcome, but she knows what a baby boy will mean. Ricky seems to care more about her well-being than the gender of a potential child. In the lull between Abraham's efforts to breed, he's been trying to get in touch with Lumia O'Rayan. He's heard rumors down the grapevine that she's privately investigating the werewolves. If Ricky won't destroy his people, Abraham knows that an angry Fey court just might.
Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to The Sims 3 Fairy Amazon Royal Saga with the Kaufman pack. We are picking up 1 PM Friday afternoon. The alpha of Pack Kaufman, Abraham, has decided to make a trip to the Verdington Palace so that he can build a connection with Lumia O'Rayan, the sorceress in line who is investigating the werewolf involvement in her mother's romance scandal or cheating scandal. So Lumia obviously became aware of the fact that the werewolves were involved. They're the ones who spread the rumors originally, and she's suspecting one of the princes behind this. Now, rumor has traveled down the grapevine. Abraham is aware of the fact that Lumia is now investigating, and he knows that because Lumia is Morida's daughter, obviously she's going to be a lot more determined about this whole situation, right? And obviously he's facing some internal struggle because someone he didn't view as a threat, who recently came back, Ricky, is now married. His subverted werewolf tradition. There might be a child on the way for him, like an heir. At least it's more likely between him and his now wife than it is with Abraham and Morgan. They've been having a lot of trouble with that. So obviously Abraham feels threatened, and he kind of decided that, well, let's try and at least cover myself or protect myself in one direction, and make the trip to Castle Verdington, the Verdington Palace, of my own volition before I'm summoned, so that I can present myself and the werewolves as a friendly force, or good citizens who are willing to help the investigation to Lumia. So that's why he's come, and I suppose the philosopher is also involved in this because she was the one originally tasked by the queen with finding out what's going on. And then obviously Lumia is doing her own private investigation, and more or less I think Saffron and Lumia have joined forces right now because they're not getting anywhere on their own. So Abraham, he he's friends with Lady Saffron. He just doesn't know Lumia that well. But I think Lumia is the one that he is wary of. Maybe joke about shedding. What else? He's a hopeless romantic. Maybe announce his engagement, enthuse about his wedding. Do some of that. Let's see, enthuse about your wedding. And no, you are not gonna try for a baby or risky woohoo with her. Don't point out flaws. Let's not do that. So he's trying to get on Lumia's good side. Now Lumia, because Abraham has come without her having to ask, I think she's willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And so she's discussing kind of her opinions on this situation. And she's saying, well, I'm not blaming the werewolves or anything, but I feel as though you guys acted under orders from someone else, and I suspect one of the princes, is the person who has given you these orders, and I just need you to cooperate with me so that we can find the culprit, the true culprit behind all of this, and we can, punish them rightfully so. Or we can at least clear my mother's name and whatnot. Now Abraham, he's being, a good citizen as far as he can. At least, that is what he's wanting to portray to Lumia. But he's also telling Lumia that, he's just a werewolf, an outsider as far as Dragon Valley is concerned. He's new to the area, and compared to the princes, he doesn't have much power, and he doesn't really want to offend anyone in a powerful position. So that's what he's going to tell her. And I think Lumia might be willing to understand. Okay, let's just give her a bit of a break. Oh! Morgan Lee just felt Rosalie Salt's baby bump. The feel of her stomach bulging with the expectation of a fresh new life is difficult to forget. Okay, so in other news, Rosalie is indeed pregnant, guys. So we have a werewolf baby on the way with Ricky Solta, which is a huge, huge deal, obviously. Come on, let's go chat with her. He wants to sculpt Lumia, my goodness. You need to become good friends, and obviously he wants to become really good friends with Lady Saffron. But let's continue convincing Lumia that we have no ill will. Let's go do that. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? What is happening? What is happening? Abraham, when I said become friends with her, I did not mean that get on your back and become a dog. I did not mean that. My goodness. That was funny. That was so funny. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue chatting with Lumia. We're gonna gossip with her. There's a fire on the home lot, but Kaufman doesn't know this because he's busy here trying to put out fires elsewhere. Okay, so he has befriended Lumia. So I think Lumia is going to understand the fact that he's, not wanting to point fingers at anyone because he doesn't have as much power as the princes in Dragon Valley. He doesn't want to offend someone wrongly. Or just offend them, period. So I think Lumia is going to accept what he said, but she's going to tell him that I'm always available. If you change your mind and you wish to speak with me, please do so. So that's kind of what's going on there. So Abraham has kind of put out fires a little bit at this point. And now he's probably going to think about his best move. He's going to go back to the pack, and he's going to think about his best move going forward. Okay, but he needs to return. He needs to return because, like we said, he is wanting really badly to get his bloodline going with Morgan Lee. His fiance slash potential mate at this point. Unfortunately, they have made no progress on that front, but as we've heard, Rosalie is pregnant, so Ricky has already been successful with that. And so the pack is expecting a baby from Ricky Salter, which obviously Abraham isn't too happy with, because beforehand there wasn't really this power struggle when Ricky wasn't here, but now there is a power struggle, so it's problematic if someone else has a son first. So we're gonna get back and see how things are going with the pack there. And also, what's going on with Morgan Lee? Okay, these guys, he's back home. Excellent. Rosalie, let's check her out. So as you can see, Rosalie is pregnant, and then look at that, she's got a bump. So that's quite obvious over there. Now, Ricky, as you kind of saw in the beginning there, he does not have a preference for the child's gender because, you know, in this new world that he's creating with the werewolves, he has made clear to Rosalie that regardless of gender, the firstborn will be his heir. That is the world that he is wanting to make for the werewolves. They're not going to cling to these old traditions of making the firstborn son an heir. And Rosalie understands that, so she doesn't have too much pressure, but she still wants a son. Because even though Rosalie is aware that, you know, Ricky would be fine with a boy or girl, the world that they are currently competing with, the werewolf culture they're competing with and the werewolf culture they're trying to come out of, only recognizes a firstborn son as the heir. So if Ricky is to gain power and be acknowledged by all werewolves, then, you know, they need to have a son rather than a daughter. And, you know, for something as different and as huge as their marriage to be acknowledged, they need to have a son. So that's kind of what's going on with these guys. Now, Morgan, see, I'm not sure why this is, but obviously we've been trying with Abraham to get Morgan pregnant, even though Rosalie is already pregnant. And we only have 4 Sims in the household. And Rosalie, I mean, even if they have 3 kids, we have room for 8. But I haven't been able to get Abraham and Morgan to try for a baby. Oh no. Well, now I can. Before I could not. Okay, but these guys, they obviously need to get working. Because Abraham's worried. He knows at this point that Rosalie is pregnant. And I think the one saving grace for him would be if Rosalie has a girl and Morgan has a boy, then, you know, they don't have to acknowledge Ricky. That's kind of his thing at this point. They can cling to the werewolf traditions and say that, well, our tradition works fine just the way it is, and the werewolves are happy living under this tradition. There is no reason to change that. So in order for him to do so, he and Morgan have to successfully have a male heir. But also, you know, with his tradition, if Morgan has a girl, then he can't marry her. He isn't going to marry her. He isn't going to have her as his mate. It's kind of like the fate saying in werewolf, you know, traditional culture, that they're not meant to be because she couldn't give him a male heir. So that's what's going on with these guys. And, I mean, he doesn't really have any other options at this point. Rosalie could have been an option, but she's not anymore. So, if he has a daughter with Morgan, he literally has, like, no one else as an optional mate. Okay, that was unsuccessful, so you guys are gonna have to keep trying. Come on, keep trying. Actually, he has to go to the... Oopsies, let's not pee ourselves. Yeah, look at Ricky. Ricky is marking his territory. He is trying to break things up. He is dismantling this regime. Okay, come on. Let's go. Let's go use the restroom. And then you and Morgan can get frisky. We were trying to get them frisky before. They just weren't having it for some reason. But I think it's okay now. It's okay now. These two have a really good relationship going on. They're very close to each other. They're very affectionate with each other. Okay. Imagine if they had, like, twins, or if they had a baby girl and a baby boy. I mean, even if Ricky acknowledged the daughter as his heir, the son would be enough to convince the others that, you know, Ricky's the way to go. And Abraham wants to master these skills, like his charisma skills and whatnot. Huh. Now, Morgan isn't really... like, she's non-committal. Oh, you peed yourself? I thought I told you to... oh my goodness. Come on, I thought I told you to use the restroom. Apparently he did not. Apparently he did not. Come on, now's not the time to be scratching your back. Now's the time to making progress. But I imagine this whole situation for Morgan would be very overbearing. Because I feel like she's a bit of a free spirit. You know, she's a bit of a free spirit. But now, ever since she's been chosen by the Alpha, he's just relentlessly pursuing her. And, you know, he's got ideas about what should be done, what she should be doing, what they should be doing. And when she's wanting to take it, like, slow, or she's not really sure about all of this, then I don't think he cares much for her opinion. He's just going full force in the direction that he feels they should be going. So I don't know, guys. Who do you think we should side with? I personally, I mean, I didn't have a problem with Abraham before, but ever since Ricky's showed up, I am kind of seeing his way of things. Like, I'm following him a lot more than I'm following Abraham at this point. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Nope, you were unsuccessful. That means you guys must try again. Come on, we are engaged in a race at this point. Abraham does not care. Abraham just wants some progress, woman. So come on, let's get this going. We're gonna keep these two in the works, and we'll see if we have any good news anytime soon. Okay, it's time to freak out because the baby is coming. So Rosalie is obviously gonna have a home birth at this point. She has lost her friendship with Abraham, the Alpha, obviously because she's lost faith in the Alpha. But she is wanting to patch... who the hell is calling her? I don't know. But she's obviously wanting to patch that up. But it's baby time, so we're gonna have to see how this pans out. Now, Abraham and Morgan have been woohooing like crazy, but she has not conceived whatsoever. And so, I think Abraham is, you know, he's so caught up in this competition for an heir that I don't think he's thinking about why it's not working between him and Morgan. Morgan, on the other hand, obviously, she's getting, I think, a bit irritated at how pushy Abraham is being. And, you know, he's getting frustrated because she's not getting pregnant. But I think Morgan is starting to think outside the box. And she's starting to think that one of them is sterile. So in order to figure out if he's the problem or she's the problem, Morgan has started chatting with Ricky. Now, I don't know what her solution's gonna be or how she's gonna test this out. But obviously, she thinks that Abraham is the reason why she can't fall pregnant, and so she's losing faith in Abraham as well. So there's that going on, and obviously Abraham isn't even aware. Right now, everyone's distracted by the fact that Rosalie is about to have her baby, and I think Abraham is totally on edge because the gender of this child could make or break his place in the pack. So we're gonna have to see. I mean, look, he's going down to Morgan, and it's a baby girl. Okay, so obviously Ricky doesn't mind, but Abraham is going to be so happy with this because it being a baby girl means that, you know, he doesn't have to acknowledge this marriage. He doesn't have to acknowledge this child necessarily, or in his eyes, Ricky's not gaining any more power because it just doesn't work according to traditional werewolf customs. Like, if they were doing things by the book, the way that it's done in the werewolf homeland, then Rosalie and Ricky's courtship would end here. And Rosalie would not be a permanent mate of Ricky. He would have to find another female. So anyways, what are we going to name this child? So I'm looking at some of the names you guys left in one of the previous episodes. And I like the name Rhea for this baby, and that was suggested to me by Dragon Wolf Tamer 5, so thank you so much for that name. Rhea Solta. I like that name. That is pretty. And this baby is gonna love the colds and be a virtuoso. I like it. Okay, just one baby, and it was a baby girl. Oh, little Rhea Solta. That's adorable. We have a little baby girl. So, as far as Ricky's concerned, this baby girl, she looks so cute. She is his heir. Oh, there we go. And I actually am really happy to have a dark-skinned baby. We haven't had luck with our fairies, mainly because everyone there is light-skinned. I mean, we have colorful fairies, I suppose, but this is the first kind of dark-skinned baby we've had, I think, in the series, and it's exciting. This baby looks very pretty for some reason. Okay, so we are going to give some love and affection to this child. She wants to snuggle Rhea, of course. We're going to snuggle her. We're going to feed her. She's already full, though. And then we're going to pop her in the crib. So little Rhea Solta. Oh, that's sweet. So this is kind of the crib that we have going on. This is where we've decided to plop this baby down. So there we go. We just had a little baby girl. Oh, and Abraham is, look, howling. He's probably very, very excited at the fact. Very, very excited at the fact that Ricky was undermined. He tried, but he had to go. As far as Abraham's concerned, Ricky's marriage means nothing. He doesn't have to acknowledge that. But Abraham's thinking about other things right now. He can kind of calm down with the breeding situation. Things are not as dire as they were a while back because, you know, he has time. After Rhea's birth, he feels as though he has some time, and he's thinking about his problem with the scandal. And he also has been wanting to befriend Prince Caspian. So he wants to network with Prince Caspian. Like, you know, it's a political quest of his own as the leader of the werewolves. So he's been wanting to do that. Now, where the heck is Prince Caspian? There is a party happening at the palace, and actually it would be a good idea for him to build connections there. But seriously, where is Caspian? Hold on a second. I feel as though we have in the past, like we've been told where these folks are. But I don't know. I don't, where would Caspian be? Would he be at the party, maybe? Because I don't see him anywhere else here. Maybe he would be at the party. So actually, I think Abraham is gonna go to the palace to see if he can find Caspian, build connections with him. Maybe he's trying to cover his tracks, because Malik has helped them out quite a bit, and I feel like Abraham knows that kind of, like, Malik is their patron in this new world, so he wants to kind of lead away from him, and so he's wanting to build connections with some of the other princes, I think, so that Malik isn't the only one that's under fire or doubt. So he's gonna attend this party that Lumia has thrown. And obviously, you know, this is all part of Lumia investigating. So he's gonna take off. Right, he is gonna head off. There we go. Actually, would he want to bring, you know what? Rosalie actually wants to become friends with Abraham. So I think he's gonna go with Rosalie. I think he's gonna take Rosalie with him. Because he's going for a reason. I think Rosalie may have offered, even though, you know, she just had her baby, I think she would have offered to accompany him so that she can patch up some of this infighting. And actually, I feel like a part of Rosalie might feel as though she has to do this because she couldn't have the boy that she wanted. And so Ricky hasn't, you know, in the eyes of other wolves, solidified his position in the pack, so she kind of has to chummy up to the pack leader so that Ricky doesn't get reprimanded or anything like that. And also, you know, she wants her marriage to be acknowledged, so she's going to be working hard at that. What the heck is this? Okay, now these two, they're left alone now, right? And as we discussed, Morgan thinks that Abraham is the problem as to why she's not conceiving. But obviously, Ricky isn't the problem. And Ricky has just had a daughter, a baby girl, which Ricky's fine with. As we said, he is already married to Rosalie. However, in traditional wolf culture, at this point, if he had been engaged to Rosalie, then their engagement would have been broken with Rhea's birth, and then Ricky would go find himself another candidate as mate, right? He'd find himself another mate. So as far as, you know, Abraham is concerned, he's not acknowledging Rosalie and Ricky's marriage. As far as Morgan's concerned, there's nothing wrong with her swooping in and seeing if maybe she can give Ricky the male heir that he needs. So she's actually gonna try this out. Who knows if it's gonna work? You know, Ricky might reject this. Or not. But they're alone right now. The other two have gone off. And, you know, no one's supervising this. But Morgan, she feels as though there's no problem here. I mean, Abraham's obviously being unable to step up to the plate. Oh. Yep, there you go. Obviously, Abraham's being unable to step up to the plate and get her pregnant, and then Rosalie's been unable to step up to the plate and give Ricky a baby boy. So, in Morgan's eyes, there is, according to traditional werewolf culture, nothing wrong with this. So, she's gonna see what's going on. And I don't know what's happening in Ricky's head at this point. There could be two things. One, just like Rosalie, even though, you know, Rhea is his heir for Ricky, maybe he feels as though they need a son for other werewolves to accept him. You know, he can always pass the title on to his daughter, but there probably has to be a son for the other werewolves to accept him as leader in the first place. Otherwise, he won't have a title to pass on to his daughter. That's one thing, but also, maybe he feels as though he's undermining Abraham by stealing Abraham's mate and proving to the other werewolves that Abraham cannot carry on the lineage. So, he's not a good leader to have. Not someone you wanna look up to. So, this is what's going on with these two. So, the drama is real. And what is that? Did she just get pregnant? Did she just get pregnant? Yes! Morgan Lee is pregnant, guys. So, Morgan Lee is now pregnant. Jeez. So, there we go. There's that. It was their first ever woohoo. And they're just friends. It was their first ever woohoo. And Morgan's already pregnant. Obviously, Rosalie has no clue about this. She's over there. And the thing is, Abraham keeps trying to... He keeps trying to hit on Rosalie. And actually, there's nothing in werewolf culture, like traditional werewolf culture, that says a female who has already had a daughter cannot be a potential mate for another male. So, Rosalie can still be a potential mate for Abraham. Obviously not for her because she's married, but traditionally, if her engagement with Ricky broke off, she could then be a potential mate to Abraham because they haven't had a baby together. So, there is that going on. There is that going on. So, she's got no clue about what's going on there. She's here with Abraham at this event. And now, Morgan is obviously gonna keep things, I think, a secret from Abraham. She's gonna keep things a secret from Abraham, and so is Ricky, actually. So is Ricky. Because Morgan is still engaged to Abraham, and Morgan has, they haven't had a child together yet, a boy or a girl. So right now, Morgan is, when she finds out she's pregnant, she's obviously going to tell Abraham that it's his child, and one of their many woohooing sessions actually worked out, and that she conceived. And as far as Rosalie's concerned, Ricky wouldn't do that, because Ricky has no need to do that. They have their daughter, and, she's the only one who he's explained this whole new world to, so she wouldn't feel threatened by that. Obviously, Morgan hasn't been explained to, so she doesn't understand, which is why she's gone ahead and done this. But there we go. There's that. So now Abraham, when he finds out, he's probably going to be really, really happy that it finally worked out. But he has no clue that it is not his baby. It is actually Ricky's baby. So even if it is a boy, then by right, Ricky's the one who has secured his bloodline, if Morgan chooses to reveal that. And if she doesn't, well, then Abraham is going to, live thinking that their son is actually his, and he's going to declare Ricky's son his heir anyways. So, who knows how that's gonna go. Okay, I think Rosalie's had enough. She wants to return back home to her baby. She doesn't want to stick around this event. How about Ricky? Is Ricky... Yeah, no, Ricky's happy to stick around and see what's going on. Now, is Caspian somewhere here? I mean, a lot of the fairies seem to be hanging around back here. I don't know if I see Caspian. No, I see Callum. Callum, Celine, Saffron. This always makes me nervous, this trio. Okay, he's going back home. Right, Abraham's going back home. We unfortunately have, Prince Caspian isn't here. And that is why Abraham came to check up on Caspian, but that hasn't happened. Oh! Oh. Look at this. Who was that again? You have a feeling that something unfortunate happened earlier. Who is this sleeping next to you? Oh, by the builder, what have you done? Yeah, okay, so I've never seen that before. Okay, yeah, he has no romantic relationship with Morgan at all. No romantic relationship whatsoever. But she's back. Rosalie's back. She doesn't know any better. She's going to bed. Ricky, does the baby need anything? Yes, it needs food and social, so he's going to give the baby a bottle. He's going to snuggle, play with, and then put the baby back in the crib. So there we go. There we go. I mean, obviously I feel like Ricky cares about, you know, Rhea and Rosalie, but I feel as though, you know, his whole intention to start a family in the first place was to gain power, was to, you know, become the unchallenged leader of the pack, and lead them in a new direction. So if, you know, Morgan, I feel as though he would have seen that as undermining Abraham permanently. That's why he's gone ahead and done that. Not because he has a romantic relationship with Morgan, but because he's trying to undermine Abraham. But this makes me think, guys, that Abraham's the sterile one. I think Abraham's the one who was having some problems. So, there we go. Ricky, he's gonna go to bed. Things got a little bit crazy. But, we'll see what goes on, what drama goes on. Soon, hopefully. When, you know, when Morgan discovers that she is with child. Because at this point, she doesn't really know. Okay, it is 11:30 a.m. on Monday. Morgan is now showing, guys. So she is pregnant. And some things have happened in the background between when we left off and this morning here. So after Morgan found out she was pregnant, she found out at midnight, early in the morning, right? Because Morgan, being her catty self, she actually went to Rosalie. And before she told the pack that she was expecting, she told Rosalie in private, like she whispered it to her, that she is expecting Ricky's child. That is not public knowledge. That is something that Morgan has told Rosalie. So obviously, Rosalie is now aware of Ricky's cheating, and she was very hurt and upset by that. She felt betrayed because, you know, Ricky showed this future that he wanted the werewolves to have, with different customs and, you know, more forward thinking, all those kind of things. And so she felt confident in her baby girl, even though she was a little bit upset she had a boy. She was worried about Ricky's position in the pack, but she was quite proud of her little baby girl, Rhea. After finding out that Ricky has then gone behind her back and gotten Morgan pregnant, she is now questioning a whole lot of things. And obviously, she's very upset and hurt by this. And insecure about the fact that she had a baby girl. So their marriage is very close to dissolving at this point. It is close to being non-existent, as you can see with Ricky over here. But she obviously really loves her daughter. And so now she's faced with this question of, does she leave Ricky and risk her daughter's position as Ricky's heir, or does she stay with Ricky and maintain her daughter's position? The other thing we have going on is, now with Ricky, he never really fell in love with Rosalie. He saw that Abraham was courting Morgan and looking for a mate, and so because he's competing with Abraham for power, the logical step for him was to find a partner in crime by finding a mate, and that's what he was doing with Rosalie. But obviously, if, you know, Morgan, he's trying to gain the werewolves on his side, if Morgan's going to acknowledge him as leader by doing this, whatever they have going between them, then for whatever reason, he felt the need to entertain that idea of hers. obviously Abraham does not know what's going on between Ricky and Morgan. Only Rosalie is aware, Morgan and Ricky, so Abraham's kind of like, on the outskirts. He doesn't really have a clue as to what is going on here. And Rosalie has not told him anything. She's keeping her mouth quiet. Again, because she's having to think about her daughter's future. But I think Abraham can see the fact that something is not right between Rosalie and Ricky. They're arguing more, they're more distant. And Abraham, he thinks it's because of Rhea. That Rhea's, a little girl, not the boy they wanted. He doesn't know that it's actually because Morgan is pregnant with Ricky's child. And Abraham is very happy right now. He has no idea about this affair. He is very happy because in his mind now he is continuing his bloodline because his fiancée is pregnant with his child. So that's what's going on through his mind. And he's just waiting for Ricky and Rosalie to break off their marriage. And then for Abraham, that is just going to validate the fact, the werewolf custom works, and I don't know what you were trying to do by going ahead and marrying Rosalie first, but you just ended up following tradition anyways. She had a girl, and you divorced her. So that's equal to an engagement being broken, like whoever breaks it off, regardless. The reason was for having a baby girl. And there's nothing new about that. That is how werewolf society works. So Abraham is not going to see the point of, Ricky's trying to change the way the werewolves are. Because as far as he's concerned, everything is going exactly as it has for, centuries. So that's the drama we have right now. That is the drama. Rosalie, as you can see, does not like Morgan. She is very heartbroken by Ricky at this point. Ricky's relationship with Morgan is quite good. They flirt here and there, and I think that's because his relationship with Rosalie has broken down quite a bit. But let's actually get for him no jealousy. I don't know if at this point it'll work, but we'll get no jealousy. So we'll see how that goes. But Ricky is obviously insulted. Oh. Yep, look at this. And Morgan, so obviously she's going with the route that this baby is Abraham's. She is not, they're just as affectionate as before. Nothing has changed between them. Their relationship hasn't suffered a hit or anything like that. Because Abraham's in the dark, and I think Morgan's keeping it that way. She kind of sees what's going on with Ricky and with Rosalie, but, whether she picks Ricky or she picks Abraham, that's entirely up to her. But whoever she picks, it's going to be important that she has that boy, at least for Morgan, because she's following tradition. And as far as she's concerned, Abraham is, sterile. So they're never going to be able to have a baby between them. Abraham doesn't know that. He believes otherwise. So even if Morgan chooses Abraham, she sees no harm in having Ricky's son and passing it off as Abraham. So we're gonna have to see what happens. Now, whenever Ricky tries to get romantic with her, she will not have it. She does not accept his flirtations. She will flirt with him on her own sometimes, but she doesn't accept it when he flirts with her. She does accept it when Abraham flirts with her, though. So, yeah, I'm not sure what Morgan's game is. Look, she's gonna be flirted with Abraham. She's probably gonna accept it. Just watch. She's gonna accept it. So, their engagement is still intact. See? Look at this. Look at this. So their engagement is still intact. I guess we'll have to see what happens when this baby is born. Ricky, obviously, I don't think Ricky is going to divorce Rosalie, because, he believes in his kind of ideas and ideals. And Rosalie's a part of that. She's like his part in crime, what she's supposed to be. So I don't think she'll do that. If she decides to break it off with him, then that's something else. But I don't think Ricky is going to do that. And whether or not, he has feelings for Rosalie, he definitely loves his little girl. That's his blood. So that's definitely someone he's going to have affection for. But I don't know what's going to happen with him and Rosalie, because their relationship is getting, bad to worse. So who knows? We'll have to see. But, okay guys, with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this very dramatic episode. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.